And then we have a guest speaker. And I must admit, my first words at an event like this, my first words were, no, not a guest speaker. I hate guest speakers. That is boring. I can't do this again. Do I have to sit and listen to somebody? No. And then I found somebody. And where is she now? Ah, there she is. Okay. And you know what? I realized that maybe the previous guest speakers were boring because I couldn't get anything from it. And that's where I got thinking, a lady that's meant a lot to me. We actually met, it was my first karate competition, and I had to go up against her. And she comes to me and she says, you know what, you need to punch here. You need to kick there, otherwise you're not going to win. She tells me, you need to do this, you need to do that. The judges, they look for that. You know what, we're going up against each other, and she comes to me and tells me how to win. How many people does that? Hey, I didn't win. No. She left the best for herself. No, that's a lie. No. Annika, you're an amazing woman. The things you've gone through, it's things that most of us have been protected against. But God knows, eh? He knows who, and He knows how, and He puts people on our place, on our path, to help us through it. And I'm here for you, girl. Till the next competition. This is Annika van der Merwe.
Sorry, I just need this for my speech. It's off, but it's still there. Just one question. Where do I need to stand that that thing don't hum?
Maybe just closer.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, right. Before I start with my speech, it was an honor to me that Genevieve, come back. And she called me and said, I'm an inspiration to her, because I'm not the traditional kind of lady. So this is not part of my speech. I only have 15 minutes, so anyway. I just want to tell you that 2 years ago at Nationals, she won me with kata. So, right. The movement, okay. Right. Still staan. Yeah. Is it going to scanners? Yeah. Right, sorry. I'm a YouTuber, so I'm recording myself. Is it? Luckily, there's more YouTubers here. Okay. Choose to believe you can. Good morning, ladies. My name is Annika van der Merwe. Time is your most valuable asset. So thank you for sharing your time this morning with me. I was born in Heidelberg, Transvaal, and I started my school career at a small school in a mining town called Grootvlei Laerskool. We were only 12 children in our class, so our teachers handed us as one group. At the end of my grade 1 year, I got 7s for all my subjects. Early the following year, my parents moved to Ceres, next to our town, and it was only then that I realized I can't read. How was this possible? When some tests were done, I was diagnosed with ADHD and a severe form of dyslexia. It was actually my ability to memorize phrases I hear, as well as my photographic memory that made me recognize the card's pictures and just tell the words. So at the end, I was kept back my grade 3 year, and over the years, lots of teachers helped me to get some skills, and one of them is my special guest today, the lady in the white hat there. It's Juffrou Bakkes. Yes, she was my, I don't know what's this in English, remediërende juffrou, and she taught me so many skills that I later taught my son. And because of her gift of what she taught me, I actually managed to get my matric. So anyway, my son, many years later, went to Worcester Noord. And there, at the end of his grade 3 year, his teacher called a meeting with me and my husband and said, due to his very severe form of dyslexia, he cannot proceed in a mainstream school. He have to go to a special school like Langerug. I was devastated. Here my son is facing the same challenges that I've been hurdled my whole life. Now, my son, as young as he was, refused to go. I said, what? He said, I'm not going anywhere, I don't know someone, so I'm not going. So I went to the teacher and said, listen, we need to think about this, we need to figure something out. So what we did is, I said, let's give him a tablet. Well, I need to explain something to you, and this is why I need my phone. So for everyone that don't understand dyslexia, what's this? Okay? What's this? What's this? It's not a trick question, it's still a phone. But you do it with a B, and then you call it a D, and then you call it a P, and you put a tail on it and flip it and call it a G, and then you twist that tail and call it a Q. For me, it's still a phone. So I need to get skills to figure out which way to go around. So when Carl turned 7, I arranged his birthday cake candles in the shape of a 7. Luckily, my husband came around and fixed it, switched it around to the other side before the photos were taken. I had it the wrong way around. For Carl, times had changed in time for him. So, with special permission from the Department of Education, he got a scribe and a reader for the end of his grade 3 years. Now, anyone know anything about it will know you only get it from grade 4. But they made that exception for him, and I'll always be grateful to Worcester Noord. Then he actually, I went to the teacher and says, can he use a tablet? Because the thing is, people, teachers have a lot of work, and they only teach stuff enough time so that the average person can grasp it. And when you have dyslexia, you need to see it like 1,000 times more. So I asked her, can he use a tablet, an iPad, so he can type the letter, so you don't need to remember which way the G go, he just choose it. So I said, the teacher mustn't get more work, I need to make this easy for them. So I tell, you take a photo, you type on your thing, this afternoon we airdrop it, I print it, we stick it in a book, because if everyone's work is on page 12, your work need to be there too. Whether you write it or type it, doesn't matter. And you know, 6 months later, I one day just realized, Carl haven't brought something to me to print. It was like the last 3 weeks. And I said, like, where's your work? He said, Mom, I'm managing in my books now. So he got that done. He has still a reader and a scribe. He is now in grade 11 in Boys Eye. He's working very hard, but he managed to, with extra classes, scribes, and a lot of hard work, he actually managed to raise his science and mathematics marks over the last year with 15%. He has an average of 75%. Now, one beautiful story about Carl is just before his first exam in grade 4, he came to me and said, Mom, I've calculated that I can have a 7 for English. My heart froze. It was like impossible. But I couldn't get myself to say that to my son and crush his dreams. So I went, you calculate that? He said, yes, I calculate that. Now, a very good friend of mine, know him, he's the calculating kind. I said, how did you calculate that? He's like, I can only lose 10 points for spelling errors. The rest I don't need to write or read. So I was very hard on him to know everything you can learn in languages. I said, you are not one of the boys. I have the privilege to not care. You have to know this. So it's like, if I lose 10% there, I have full marks for the rest, I'll get a 7. And believe me, he got 79% that year. So, earlier this year, we took him to Stellenbosch University for the open day. His dream is to study mechanical engineering. There, when we were sitting there, the professor said, if you want to get in, you have to have an A average. So now, by the grace of God, many prayers, wonderful teachers along the way, great friends, great parenting, grandparents, amazing stuff Efra Bakkes taught me that I could use to help him. My son is actually planning to get an A for the end of his matric year. That's the boy that was once labelled not able to go to a mainstream school. Right. Then my husband, supporting him. I went to Elsenburg Agriculture College. I did pass. Ta-da! Got a husband. And there I met Willem. He was the eldest in a family in the Bokkenveld. He was the 6th generation that was supposed to take over their farm. When he was writing his final exam at Elsenburg, his best friend called him and said, sorry about the farm. He said, like what? He said, your dad just sold it. Willem was devastated. I mean, he got punishment at school when he was young because there was mud in his books, because his life was farming. His farming career was stopped to go to school. Second week, he came back in the house, took his suitcase, and got like, another 12 years! And he smashed it at the end. So there he was, devastated. We got married soon after, and we went and worked for my uncle in Portugal, but we didn't like it in Portugal, just the weather and the stuff. And he always longed to go back to the Bokkenveld. But he applied for jobs for 4 years and he couldn't get a job. And one day he was sitting there and he's saying, what do I need to do? No one wants to give me a job. So I looked at him and I said, well, if they don't want to give you a job, get yourself one. So I went, borrowed money, bought a small tree felling company, which was like one filter trailer with 3 old chainsaws. And he started doing tree surgery, it's a fancy word. It's where you take all the branches off that you and your ladder and your handsaw don't have the capability to do that. And he realized that you need to get rid of this wood. So if you use a wood chipper and you chip it, now with all this devastation, everyone understands now the concept of if you chip it, it's less, 5 times less to the dump site. Okay, so, but then the farmers started renting this equipment. So we had to buy another one and another one and another one. Okay, you can go to my YouTube channel, Africa Biomass Company, then you'll see all the stuff. He basically envisioned this whole new network, the whole new way of handling waste wood. He got the Entrepreneur of the Year award in 2017 that was sponsored by Sanlam Business Partners. And if you think I'm proud of him about that, you're wrong. Do you remember day 0? That was the day that was marked when Cape Town municipality would have gone into switching off municipality water. That would have been the first time in the world that a major city was in a crisis like that. The people would actually have to queue in lines to get their little ration of water every day. Because of the work he'd done, and you can come afterwards and ask me how that maths worked, but his company, since 2017, saved enough water to supply 55,000 households with their daily ration of water. I believe that was his biggest achievement. I'm very proud of him. I am in a privileged position to do marketing. I'm running the YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. There's a video almost much 9 million times, I just need a few. And share it with your friends, and it's a lot of fun. If you are babysitting, kids watch for hours. And I do some of his travel arrangements, and I support him with a conventional, traditional Afrikaans lunch in his office with side plates and serviettes and stuff whenever he has a tight schedule, and enjoy having it with him. And then I love traveling with him. But I'm so proud of what he done, because it's sad they lost the farm. But I tell you, my husband, Willem van der Merwe, made a huge difference in the whole of Southern Africa. They are currently busy supplying wood chips as an alternative to coal. So if your child have less asthma than last year, it's because they supply now the hatchery and the Rainbow Chicken farms and all the other broiler farms with wood chips to burn instead of coal. And then, yeah, if you use wood chips on an orchard, you can use 30% less water for every hectare of riverland that has been cleared. For every 3 hectares, they can supply 1 hectare of water for agriculture use again. So it's like, I can keep you busy forever. But okay, let's go, move on. A mother to my energetic daughter, Anfra. Marie knows her, and everyone that laughed too. Okay, you know Steve Irwin? The female version. If you don't believe me, when she was in grade...
Staan net so toe, Anna, ek dink jou kamera kry
Is
jy
it 8? Okay. So in grade 7, it was COVID. Anfra caught the snake at the stables, took it home to check in a book if it's poisonous or not. Okay, right. Her dear friend Marie's here, and I'm so glad of that. People, my daughter is a lovely, energetic daughter of 19. But when she was 4 years old, her preschool teacher called me in and said, like, she need to go on Ritalin. I'm like, no. But you know, at the end of her grade 1 year, I overheard her talking to my mother. My mother asked her how was school, and Anfra burst into tears. She said, Grandma, everyone is shouting at me all the time. And it was then I realized that supplying my child with the right medication, I will protect her self-esteem. Ritalin, Concerta, all those medications in the right circumstances is a life changer. If a doctor or teacher will come to you and say, listen, you need to give your child glasses, which one of you will hesitate? No one. Why are we then so afraid of a remedy that's been proven a game changer, a life changer in so many people's lives over more than 50 years? My daughter now jokingly sometimes say, Mum, remember we both medicated daily, even on weekends. Because why would you keep your child away from their glasses? 2 miscarriages. At the end of 3 years after Carl, I had a miscarriage at 18 weeks, and then a year later, one at 8 weeks. And I went to God and I say, why did this happen to me? I'm sure I would be able to support someone else going through this hardship without experiencing it firsthand myself. But the only thing that brought me peace was when you lose something dear, you value what you have more. And I tell you, I value my children so much and my loved ones. One day someone come to me and say, if you have the choice to erase those 2 pregnancies from your mind and you don't have all the sorrow and everything, will you do that? And I say no. Because no one can take away from me the joy I felt being pregnant 4 times. No one can take away from me the time I carried my unborn children. I planted 2 rose gardens next to my house in their memory. We called them, one Fani and the other one Jenna. And I shared the flowers that I harvest there with people that's either very happy or very sad. So you're welcome to come and visit me and see how beautiful that is. Surviving breast cancer. Right, so at the end of 2022, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was very lucky because the cancer I was diagnosed was only hormone driven. And my doctor said if I go for surgery and I get hormone blockers, then there's a very good chance that I do not have to go for chemo or radiation. And then early 2023, I went for a double mastectomy and reconstruction, and I'm healthy. This is amazing. But one day, I was driving back from school with Carl shortly after I was diagnosed, and I looked at him and I said, Carl, I don't understand. Everyone is crying for me, and everyone's so sad, and I'm actually all right. And he looked at me and he said, Mum, you do not understand. He said, you will just die and happily go to heaven and leave the rest of us alone here. And my heart swelled. My son doesn't have the slightest doubt where his mother go when she passes. Isn't that why we're here, to give your children eternal security? Right. Then, when Carl also I did clear everything with him. He said I'm allowed to tell these stories. When he was grade 2, he got bullied a lot. So I just looked at him and I said, boy, your mom can do 2 things. She can wipe your tears and take you to karate. So I took him there, and Anfra started doing too. And that day, the sensei from the front said, hey, all the parents there at the back, get up. You're going to be sitting here anyway, so you might as well join. So 6 of us got up, and 3 of us are actually still doing karate. Carl stopped doing karate a few years later. He felt that he can defend himself now good. But Anfra and me got our black belts end of 2024, and we also were selected for the national karate Gojukai team, and Miri went also, to go to Japan in August last year. Stepping onto that floor in Japan, doing karate, with my daughter and with my husband watching, was just that experience of God's grace on my life. Going through all these hardships, and I had more health issues, but just, get up there and go there. Isn't this amazing God we serve? I want to encourage you with that. And then the one thing I need to tell you is, you are here. Life is about you. It's not about me and my story, but it's about you. God made you special. Your dreams is the dreams that really matter. Your vision, God planted a vision or a dream in your heart. It's because that's who you have to be. Discover the person you have to be and be that queen. And don't let anyone tell you anything else. When my grandmother passed away, I was sad, but I was devastated because we lose someone that prayed. My mother is the youngest of 5, so I know our branch of the family got prayed for on Fridays. And after the funeral, I spoke to my aunt and she said, I don't need to worry, she's taking over the list. Ladies, girls, when you think about someone, pray for them. It's God pushing them on your heart. If you can't do anything to help someone, pray for them. If you haven't experienced the power, you just haven't used it right. So yeah, I think there's still a bit in my speech, but I don't think I can remember which. Is there anything on that list that was mentioned that I haven't named? Sanitation. Okay, never mind. The end. I'm a YouTuber. That's my first love. And I have a lot of different channels. And one of the vouchers, if someone get it, is a free YouTube channel. I'll help you make your own. I'm not doing the text if you want it. Because my grade 7 teacher said, Anneke is a good hard worker. I hope she get a job one day where she don't need to read and write. My English teacher, end of matric, read my prescribed book for me on a cassette tape because she surely believed I couldn't read, even by then. So my one YouTube channel I make is move in a bottle, you must put it in inverted commas. That's where all the special stories that touch my heart, I posted there. And the written bit about that journal, I said, you need to, everyone's life is special. So I'm telling you this morning, your life is special. So, believe in yourself. Get a book and write down your dreams and pursue them, chase them. And believe God made you the queen. And get that spot, because there's only one spot for you and there's no one else that can fill that. So if you're not going to do your job, you're going to like, no, I can't. You're not going to nail it. Thank you, ladies. Choose to believe you can. If you want to know any more about if you want to know more about any of this information, you're welcome to come and talk to me. I can keep you busy for 3 seasons.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was beautiful. Everybody, will you give them a hand?